April the 19th, 2025 will now come to order at 9 a.m. I would ask Member Davis, would you please lead us in the invocation?
Hawaii and Tante Wakanda, Father God in heaven, creator of all things. Father God, as we so humbly bow our heads before you, we just thank you for this day. Father God, we thank you for the blessings that you've bestowed upon us. Father, as we go throughout this meeting, Father God, help us to be strong with the decisions, Father God, but help us to have open minds and understanding. Help us to extend grace and mercy the way that you have shown us. Father, be with those that are in mourning, Father God. Father, lead, guide, and direct us. Let us know and feel your presence today as we present this information to those, to our nation. Father, just return us all home safely at the appointed hour, and let us find our homes better than the way we left them. Be with those that are present, extend blessings upon those, and be with those that aren't with us today for whatever reason. But Father God, we know the love that you have for us, and you are worthy of it all. We give you all the praise and glory in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Secretary Treasurer Valier, would you please take roll call and declare quorum?
Certainly, Madam Chair. Chair Supernall.
Present.
Vice Chair McKibben. Present. Secretary Treasurer Valier, present. Member Mercer. Present. Member Davis.
Present.
Member Buffalo.
Present.
Member Gibbs-Water.
Present.
Madam Chair, I declare a quorum.
Would you please call for the orders of the day?
Madam Chair, I call for the orders of the day.
Thank you. We're going to move on to the consent agenda. Business Committee, are there any corrections to the documents listed as a part of the consent agenda? That agenda includes the March 15th, 2025 meeting minutes, the directors and subcommittee reports as submitted. Hearing no objections, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor of adopting and approving the March 15th, 2025 meeting minutes, the directors and subcommittee reports as distributed, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes have it and the motion is adopted. The March 15th, 2025 meeting minutes, the directors and subcommittee reports as distributed are approved. We're going to move on to donations. First thing this morning, first out of the gate is Chairman Spotted Bird here. All right, we'll go on to the next one. Wyandotte Youth Baseball. I believe that they are over Zoom. Just a moment. Kristen Weisinger. Let's go on to the Spring Grove Church Soup Kitchen, and that would be Christy Harding.
Present.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us this morning. Do you want to describe your donation request, please?
Yes, so I attend Spring Grove Church in Galena, Kansas, and every Thursday we give out a free meal to anybody in the community, doesn't matter where they live. And the meal is free, and we also give out food baskets every Thursday. And then afterwards, we have Bible study. We invite them to stay with us for Bible study. We've served a lot of people in the communities, including homeless people, which we really enjoy. And this year, just like for the past 4 years since we've evolved, every year we have a Galena Days in June. And for the past 3 years, the Quapaw Nation has gracefully donated to our soup kitchen by donating $500 to help with Galena Days, so we can open up a booth down there and spread God's love. And we serve food and take donations, which in return gives us the money to help provide the food baskets and the free meal every Thursday. And we'd love to continue to do so.
Wonderful. Question for you, Miss Christie. Is the donation to support the fundraiser?
Yes.
Wonderful, thank you.
You guys make it possible to attend Galena Days and have our booth down there.
Madam Chair, I would make a motion to donate $500 to the Spring Grove Church Soup Kitchen.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor for a $500 donation to the Spring Grove Church Soup Kitchen. BC, any further discussion? We'll go to the vote. All those in favor of approving the $500 donation, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. The donation request is approved in the amount of $500. Thank you, Christy.
Thank you all so very much. Appreciate it.
All right, let's go on to the Kiowa Tribe Rainy Mountain Church. Chairman Spotted Bird, if you would please proceed to the podium and describe the donation request, we would appreciate that. Good morning.
Good morning again. Good to be here, Madam Chair and Quapaw Tribal Council. Appreciate you inviting us to your homeland. Good to be here. We had a good stay at your facility. It's a beautiful facility. And again, thank you for inviting us. I'm the chairman, Lawrence Spotted Bird. I'm the chairman of the Kiowa Tribe. We're in southwest Oklahoma, and one of our revered Christian churches, the Baptist church that was established in 1893, burned down last month because of the high winds and the electrical lines broke and caused the fire. And I have also with me here Terry Hunter. He's the chairman of the board of trustees for the Rainy Mountain Baptist Church. And so I'd like to also have him introduce himself.
Good morning. It's good to be with you here. You have a beautiful, beautiful area up here. I admire all of the trees. You know, we don't have that in southwest Oklahoma. We've got 100-mile-an-hour winds and a lot of dust. But it's good to be here, and I appreciate you inviting us to come up here. And I've been with the church now for about 50 years. And our church was, as I indicated, 130 years ago it was established. And it's a very traditional Kiowa church. We intertwined our traditions of Kiowa along with Christianity, and it's worked for us. We've had a lot of Kiowa leaders come out of our church and our community there. And it's worked for our community for generations. So it's been a tremendous loss for the Kiowa community down there. It was caused by the wildfires on March the 14th that burned down a lot of homes in other areas. But anyway, I just wanted to give you a little bit of information and background about our church. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. I did have a question for you based on some of the information that you submitted. When the fire occurred, it looked like the church was completely destroyed. Is that correct?
Yes, that's absolutely correct. We were just in the process of renovating our church. We were doing some work on the roof and also on the inside. It was a beautiful, beautiful church. And what happened was that day, the fires, and if you all recall, they gave us a warning about that, the fires, the wind that day. So what happened is one of the power lines broke, came down and hit the back of the church. And I would say within probably 40 minutes, that church was completely burned down. We did have the rural fire departments come out and help us, but it was too late. It completely just burned up everything. So everything that we had in the church, it was all gone due to the fire.
We're sure sorry about your loss. Any other questions from the business committee?
No, I don't have any. Second.
We have a motion on the floor to donate $2,000 to the Kiowa Tribe to rebuild the Rainy Mountain Church, to build their fund. Business committee, is there any additional discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to the vote. All those in favor of approving the $2,000 donation, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. The donation is approved in the amount of $2,000. Thank you for being here, and we're sure sorry. Yeah.
On behalf of our congregation and our tribal people, I'm going to say aho. And our creator, Dalki, may he bless you and bless your tribe. Aho.
Oh.
Done again.
Oh.
All right, let's go on to let's see if the Wyandotte Youth Baseball, Miss Kristen Wiesinger is on Zoom.
Do we have let me go show him the phone number and see if that number's up on the.
Yeah, one question. Do you see a telephone number on Zoom, 918-801-8766? Go ahead and unmute the iPhone and we'll verify the identity of the individual on that line.
Safe travels.
So is the unmuted line Kirsten Weisinger? Okay. Let's go ahead and move on. That completes the donation request for this morning. Let's go ahead and go to the Business Committee report. First off, the following tribal members passed away since we last met. Includes Judy Ann Truster, Elizabeth Ann Bell. Please lift these Quapaw families and all families in your prayers and let us join in a moment of silence. And again, we do have some announcements this morning. Member Mercer, would you please provide an O-gah-pah Tikida project update as well as a summary of the special meeting held earlier this week by maids?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. On the condition of our homes, we now have 12 homes 100% complete. We will have 14 done by the end of this month, and we are ready for housing to get everything in order, start leasing these homes out and getting residents moved in. The fencing will not be up at this time. We're still waiting to get our third bid to put fencing down the road. But once we get residents moved in and get the other two houses complete, then that street will be blocked off except for local traffic. All construction will have to go around and come in on the far west end, which runs where we're working in the curve. We have 3, 4, 5 houses standing to be completed there. 4 more foundations are in with 3 footings to complete, and then at that point, within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we expect to have all foundations in for the entire division. And other than that, we just want to see people get moved in there because we've got a lot of tribal members that need a decent place to live. And as far as maids, they did a housing survey, hired a firm to do housing needs around around Ottawa County. And as we all know, it wasn't a new revelation for us. There is an inadequate supply of homes. Something like, there's 800 vacant units in the area, but most of those are in flood zones, and they are inhabitable. They can't go be in and rehab, so it creates a severe shortage. Probably 60% of the homes available to me, they are substandard, which is no new news to us. The city wants to work with the tribes. They will be looking at their offset requirements because I had talked to them, and we've got a lot of lots. Some of them are 50 feet wide, and once you consider the offset, it's extremely difficult to even get a 2-bedroom home in there. No garage. And it makes the housing just almost due through the price range of new housings, which is up to $200 now a square foot. We need to create some homes according to this survey, in the $300,000, $200,000 to $300,000 price range, so that people that would like to move up would be able to move up into newer housing, which would create some lower priced homes for those wanting to buy, because the increase in 20 to 34-year-olds is going to be about 12% over the next 10 years. And we got families there that are going to want to move out of rentals into homes, and it's taken, we all know, a two-family income now to be able to find adequate housing. The average is like 35% of their annual income is spent on housing, which includes utility works. And, excuse me, there is a tight land available due to the flood zone. GRDA, the flood zone was changed here a few years back and included a lot of homes that were not in the flood zone. And if they get approval, this is my opinion now, if they get approval to increase the depth there for the lake, then we're going to lose even more homes in this area. So we are facing a shortage. It's all going to depend on the city of Miami, Quapaw, Fairland, on how they can work with the tribes and with developers, because developers need that land base to come in here. And I would even build some homes myself, but Miami's going to have to do a lot of work, and Quapaw. You know, we have so many lots that are in trust. Unless we can work with families to get a 50-year lease on the land or something, people are not going to invest in these homes. And it's not a good outlook, but those are the facts. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Something too, the government puts us as a nation and other tribes, I'm sure as well, and I'm not trying to rain on Larry here. This is such a difficult thing to price the rent. The government, the way the grants folks described it to us, if your housing program isn't self-sufficient and keep itself afloat, they really look at that when considering future housing projects. They don't want to fund you for additional or future housing if your housing project isn't self-sufficient. They want you to have those houses. And so how are we as a nation trying to, income-based rent, things like that are so difficult to provide for folks when the government's holding this over your head, kind of saying, hey, if this program, this housing project isn't self-sufficient, you're not going to get any money in the future. So that is just a predicament that tribes and nations are facing. So I just wanted to add that on. So
It's a good point.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Any help is appreciated. And the other thing is, the government is cutting back on a lot of these assistance programs. So our outlook is bleak during this administration right now. So thank you, guys, and we just need lots of prayers.
Vice Chairman Kibben, would you give an update on the quarterly Oklahoma Indian Tax Alliance meeting held?
yes, ma'am, gladly. On March 26th, Debbie Ray and our tax commission hosted the Oklahoma Intertribal Tax Association at Downstream. Did a wonderful job. Downstream was very gracious hosting that event. Had a good turnout. There was Executive Director of UINO, which is United Indian Nations of Oklahoma, Margot Gray, was there. She gave an update on the federal things, which is, like Larry said, it's pretty bleak on the federal front. Then the House of Representatives, Representative Scott Fettgatter was there. He's House Leadership, Tribal and External Affairs. He came and spoke with us. The Turnpike Authority was there, Julie Porter. In addition to that, we've also visited with the Turnpike Authority. Chair Super and I may want to give a little update on that a little bit later, but they say they're open to negotiations, but the negotiations are really kind of one-sided. So they just, basically want the information and want to build tribes, but they are not really open to negotiation. Then also state legislative update was provided by Vivian Morris from the Oklahoma Policy Institute. Gaming was there as well. Matthew Morgan, the Oklahoma Indian Gaming Association chair. And then in the afternoon, Eric Giles, one of our legal counselors, was there, and they had a panel of Valerie Deval from Devil and Associates. She was the moderator. Billy Shepard from BS Law, and George Wright from the Citizen Potawatomis. They kind of had an afternoon panel discussing the tax issues facing tribes as far as tags, tobacco, and motor fuel compacts. So Again, it was a very informative event, and Debbie and the RTAX Commission did a great job of hosting along with Downstream.
Thank you. That was a perfect segue. Member Buffalo, would you please provide an update on our latest negotiations with the state of Oklahoma on our recently expired tobacco compact?
Yes, Madam Chairman. I'll give a brief timeline of what's occurred. The nation no longer has a tobacco compact. The first tobacco compact was approved in 2013, scheduled to expire December 31st, 2023. The tribe negotiated an extension to December 2024. And then the governor, well, he fails to negotiate. He's an Indian, non-Indian. And I'm referring to Governor Stitt. He wanted to go from basically a 50-50 split to an 80-20 split with 80% to the state. The tribe disagreed with that. And so we got an extension to March 31st. That has expired. The governor sent a counteroffer that if we would negotiate a motor vehicle compact during the first 6 months, that they would hold the money until that period. And then if we didn't have a motor vehicle compact, they would put that money in the state treasury. That was also contingent on us adopting a compact with the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority. There's a lot of concern on both those compacts. The motor vehicle compact requires that tags only be issued in your reservation area to tribal members. Otherwise, they have to go to the state licensing bureau. And they have to pay their excise tax and everything associated with getting an Oklahoma tag. But it would be a tribal tag. Tribe had a right to design the tag, but the state retained the right to redesign the tag. We couldn't agree with that. And it's contingent on a compact with the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority. And that's no good either, because they want all the information about tribal member tags. And in fact, when we met at the OTA, we had a list of vehicles who had traveled on the turnpike without paying tolls. Debbie Ray asked for a list of the tag numbers, and they refused to give it. It's a surprise. And they also want the tribe to pay $110,000 for those vehicles. We disagreed with it, so we're at a standstill on the tobacco compact. I understand there may be an effort this coming Tuesday to get legislative action on some tobacco compacts. 2 or 3 tribes, and legal counsel has indicated he'll include the Quapaw Nation on that. I don't expect it's going to make any headway, but till then, we're without a tobacco compact. Now, it's all because of, I call it greed of the state of Oklahoma, because this nation is not responsible for those individuals who run the gate. It's up to the individual to pay that, not the nation. Actually, they give us a list of vehicles, some of them up 400 trips, and that totaled $149,000. In my opinion, our meeting with the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority was a waste of time. They had no give, and we had no give. That's why we're at right now without a tobacco compact.
Thank you, Member Buffalo. Appreciate that. Was a good update. Member Giftswater, would you please give an update on the powwow ground improvements?
Yeah. I feel like I should have started first compared to all that. I don't really have too much. All phases of design are at 90% and have been billed to 90%. They're anticipating having full preliminary designs by the end of April with the completed set of designs by the end of May, allowing us time to make needed changes if something comes up. I also asked them for a 3D model for everybody who doesn't understand architectural and engineering plans, and topographical maps, just to have a 3D presentation for not only the business committee, but different committees and different folks. I'm going to be, when it comes time, I'm going to be going around to different committees and asking their input and opinion, such as the culture committee, the elders, and different ones. But that's really where we're at right now. We're about 90% done with the preliminary designs. So we haven't received the geotech results back yet. They had some concerns about the analysis of, well, because of how shallow they hit the rock down here, which really is not surprising at all, considering rocks grow out here and the shelf continues to grow up like grass. So we're still waiting on those results and should have them back well before the next meeting. So during that next meeting, I'll give the results out to everybody. That's where we're at right now.
Thank you. Secretary Treasurer Valier, would you please provide an update on the Argo bioprocessing plant?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Quapaw Nation Business Committee and various other Quapaw Nation departments are continuing to communicate with Argo regarding their proposed bioprocessing plant. Argo has initiated a permitting process with the Quapaw Nation. This permitting process will require Argo to submit an application with plans and narrative description of the facility, including both construction and operation, to the Quapaw Nation. The Quapaw Nation Business Committee will review the sufficiency of the data submitted by Argo carefully. There is still a plan to hold a Quapaw Nation town meeting with Argo for our community members. The date is to be determined and will be announced through the Quapaw Nation communications when it is scheduled. This project continues to evolve, and we will keep tribal members and community updated as we move forward through the permitting process.
Thank you. Member Davis, would you please give an update on the Celebrate Archaeology Day event at Plum Bayou in Arkansas?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. An invitation was extended to the Quapaw Nation Historic Preservation Program by the Arkansas Archaeological Survey, Arkansas State Parks, and Arkansas Archaeological Study to join them at Plum Bayou Archaeological State Park for the annual Celebrate Archaeology Days on March 29th. That's a lot of archaeology and archaeological words. The event was free, family-friendly, and had hands-on activities. The Executive Director of Culture, along with several members of the Quapaw Nation Historic Preservation Program team, Joey Gibbswater, and myself participated in the event. As part of the Celebrate Archaeology Day, we cooked over an open fire and provided traditional food samples of beef and hominy and yonkapin. The attendees enjoyed the food samples and engaged in open discussion. They were eager to learn about our history, cooking methods, food, and culture. In addition, we were able to meet with professional partners to discuss upcoming projects, challenges, and new opportunities for collaboration and protection of our historical and cultural sites. And I just want to say that Joey did an amazing job with the fire, battling the rain that morning, off and on that day.
That was fun.
It was a good day. It really was, despite the weather. But that was my first time to participate, and the numbers were down a little bit from last year, and it was basically due to the weather. But it was a great day. Gonna go.
Thank you. Would you also share a summary of the National Indian Health Board Tribal Town Hall?
Certainly. Thank you, Madam Chair. On April 15th, I participated in a virtual tribal town hall on the proposed reorganization of the Department of Health and Human Services. The National Indian Health Board hosted the meeting. The meeting was closed to the press and to the public to protect any confidential information that may be discussed later during formal consultation sessions with the federal government. In February 2025, President Trump issued an executive order establishing the Department of Government Efficiency, known as DOGE, Workforce Optimization Initiative. The focus is to reform federal workforce to maximize efficiency and productivity. Under this directive, each agency is required to develop an agency reorganization plan. The purpose of the town hall was to discuss the proposed reorganization and impacts to Indian country. The proposed plan did not include an overview of how the restructure will impact Indian Health Service. Under the restructure, HHS will create the Administration for a Healthy America. An overview of impacts so far to Indian country include the termination of the Centers for Disease Control Healthy Tribes Program staff. The program funded 3 projects: Good Health and Wellness in Indian Country, Tribal Practices for Wellness in Indian Country, and Tribal Epidemiology Centers for Public Health Infrastructure. The Center for Indigenous Innovation in Health and Equity within the Office of Minority Health was eliminated. SAMHSA's Center for Mental Health Services was closed. This closure could have an impact on the Circles of Care program and Native Connection grants. It is uncertain whether funds will be restored. In conclusion, during the town hall meeting, it was reiterated the need for government-to-government tribal consultations and the legal requirement that consultations be held. It is imperative that trust and treaty responsibilities be honored. In regard to the Native Connections grants, the nation was awarded one of those grants, and we'll just keep everyone updated. It could potentially impact us in that area, but as of right now, we have not seen any changes. Gonna go.
Thank you. I missed something. Secretary Treasurer Value, would you please describe our subcommittee vacancies?
Thank you, Madam Chair. There is 1 vacancy in the Elder Resident Housing Committee and 1 vacancy on the Culture Committee. Those that are interested in serving on these committees should send an email to brent.devine@quapawnation.com by next Friday, April 25th. Please provide your name, contact information, and what you feel you can contribute to the respective committee. Ganagay.
Thank you. I just want to pick up the ball on the Department of Government Efficiency for a second. So we're not directly impacted with 2 exceptions. Last month, we shared that the BIA Miami Agency Realty Specialist who was in their probationary period was terminated. Well, the good news is that since we all last met, that individual realty specialist has returned to the job effective April 1, so that's good news. Disruption, yes, but at least they're back on the job. The second one was all Institute of Museum and Library Services grants, commonly known as IMLS. All of those grants have been revoked, so even approved grant dollars were frozen. And that's the agency that provides funding for our library. Those funds are no longer available to us. We just learned last week that there is an appeals process, and so that appeal process, all of that data is getting gathered to submit it, so hopefully there might be a glimmer of hope that we can get those grant dollars restored. It's also unclear as to whether future grant periods will be made available. So those are the 2 direct impacts that I wanted to share. In addition, earlier this week, the Department of Justice froze a violence against women funding from the American Bar Association, ABA. The rumor was circulating that the funding was also revoked for all tribal nations. That rumor has been dispelled directly by the funding agency, and tribal funding for violence against women's services are in force. So far so good as far as that's concerned. So that was a rumor. That rumor has been dispelled. Last month, we announced the meat processing plant management agreement with Cypress Valley Meat Company will cease later this year. We have determined that the transition will be complete by July the 1st, 2025, so just here in a few months. And so far, that transition is going very smoothly. I had the opportunity to testify before the House Natural Resources Committee field hearing on self-governance, healthcare, and economic development in Oklahoma City. 50 years ago, President Nixon challenged the Democratic majorities in the House and the Senate to reduce bureaucratic interference in the tribal affairs of our people. As a result, Congress passed the Indian Self-Determination and Education Assistance Act of 1975. My testimony focused on the theme that self-governance alone is a form of economic development. In addition, when programs and services are authorized by Congress, they are most effectively administered by the tribe. It was really refreshing to see so many members of the Natural Resources Committee here in Oklahoma, plus 2 additional Oklahoma congressional delegates. Stephanie Bice and Frank Lucas were present. Excerpts of the testimony were posted on social media by O-Guah-Pah Communications, and it really was an honor to testify on behalf of the Quapaw Nation. So it's especially in light of yesterday evening's storm, it's storm season. I want to share that the Quapaw Nation Emergency Management, they have an emergency alert system. I actually got alerts 3 times last night as the storm was rolling in. And they do provide real-time updates on weather warnings, safety tips, office closures, and emergency notices straight to your phone or inbox. You can sign up if you go out to quapawnation.com/804 to sign up, or you can email em.department@quapawnation.com. Again, that's em.department@quapawnation.com, and you can sign up for those alerts because they really are helpful. We did have a whole series of events that were held last month, and we have an awful lot of upcoming events. I'll try to go through those pretty quickly. So April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and the reservation has been decorated with yard signs and blue pinwheels, raising awareness of child abuse. The blue pinwheel is a symbol of hope and commitment to protecting children. The event is sponsored by the Quapaw Nation Juvenile Affairs and Quapaw Nation Family Services departments. The Juvenile Affairs Program is asking local businesses and community organizations to help support youth by offering community service opportunities outside of school hours. Examples of help needed include cleaning, organizing, painting, and outdoor work. For more information, please contact Tiffany Hembry. In addition, the Juvenile Affairs Department is holding a youth clothing drive for April. Drop-off locations are at the Quapaw Nation Administration Building, Cahota Building, or Title VI. And they're seeking donations for summer-style clothing for both boys and girls, youth sizes through teen sizes, such as t-shirts, tank tops, shorts, swimwear, and they're also accepting monetary donations. For more information, please contact the Juvenile Affairs Case Manager, Tiffany Hembry. O-Guah-Pah Communications held 2 classes on April 4th and 10th for elders, teaching them how to receive information from the nation's website. Hope those were good sessions. On Thursday, April 10th, representatives from the Oklahoma Department of Environmental Quality and the U.S. EPA Region 6 and the Quapaw Nation provided information and answered community questions about the Tar Creek Superfund site at the Miami Civic Center. Additional agencies also participated and offered resources focused on promoting the health and safety of the community. Quapaw Nation Museum opened its new exhibit called Around the Shoulders, Robes, Blankets, and Shawls on April 11th. And the exhibit displays, my apologies, I'll do the best I can, ma'ita, which can be translated as that which is worn around the shoulders. It showcases a selection of Quapaw robes, blankets, and shawls, along with historical information, photographs, family heirlooms, and reproductions, and these items highlight Quapaw practices from centuries ago to the present day. The Culture Committee, in collaboration with CCDF, Native Connections Youth Program, O-Guah-Pah Communications, Grounds Committee, Events Committee, and Quapaw Historic Preservation Program, held the spring gathering April 11th and 12th, which was at the Downstream Casino and Resort Pavilion. The event included cultural classes, gourd dancing, a late evening screening of Voices of the O-Guah-Pah, Easter egg hunt, crafts, powwow, stomp dance, and a meal. It was well attended and a lot of fun for all age groups. The Education Department has scheduled a series of workshops titled Jobs and Careers 101, Build Your Future in 6 sessions. The first session was for resume building. It was held on April the 16th. Each session is 1 hour long and is repeated 3 times each evening from 6 to 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. So the next sessions, those are all out on flyers on the website as well as social media. You can also register by contacting the Education Department at education.department@quapawnation.com. On April 17th, the Quapaw Nation was a sponsor for the Anti-Violence Project 2025. A live panel of tribal leaders and experts spoke about issues and solutions in their community and was followed by a Q&A session from those in attendance. For those who might not have been able to attend, don't worry. There's one more panel on live coverage that'll take place next Thursday, April the 24th, from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Cornell Complex in Joplin. On Friday, the 18th, the nation closed early in observance of Good Friday. That was yesterday afternoon. So if you were trying to call somebody and don't think they're being rude and ignoring you, just the offices were closed yesterday afternoon. Quapaw Nation Title VI Nutrition Program, they blessed several people by handing out hams for Easter to eligible participants while the supplies lasted. The Quapaw Tribal Library and Oklahoma Humanities have been working on a series of Read, Discuss, Connect events where they read and discussed a series of books on contemporary Native American authors. The next session is at the library, May 8th at 5:30 p.m., where they will be reading Medicine River by Thomas King. Additional details can be found on the nation's website under events. The Quapaw Nation Family Services is holding a stomp dance class on May the 3rd, 11th, and 17th from 2 to 5 p.m. All ages are welcome to learn at the Quapaw Nation Community Building. All shell shakers and leaders are welcome to be a part of this event, and families are encouraged to join in too. The Quapaw Nation Annual Memorial Dinner is Saturday, May 10th at noon, with Cedar Smoke before that. So again, that's May the 10th. Quapaw Farmers Market and Food Hub, they've announced the 2025 Farmers Market events. The markets are held on the first and third Friday in May to October from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and everyone is encouraged to bring their tote bags and strike a bargain at the biweekly markets. The youth program is hosting a Shield pottery class on June the 3rd and 4th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the Susie Moore Pottery Studio. Betty Gadke is teaching the class, and the class is open to 5th through 12th graders and is limited to the first 10 students who sign up. To sign up, please contact Kristen Keys, 918-325-2886, and the class is sponsored through a federal grant from SAMHSA. Food Sovereignty Department and Cattle Company have announced another food distribution for Quapaw Tribal member head of households. The sign-up starts May 1 and goes through May the 30th at 4 p.m. The distribution this time will be 20 pounds of ground beef, and the scheduled pickup dates are June the 9th through the 14th. The last distribution served 1,079 Quapaw households, so increasing participation, and sure happy to be able to do that. Saturday, June the 14th, the Quapaw Nation Higher Ed Department is hosting a graduation celebration banquet for students graduating between July 1, 2024 and June 30th, 2025. Those interested in attending need to RSVP no later than May the 31st. In order to register, you need to email the Education Department, and additional details can be found online. O-Guah-Pah Communications is asking the Quapaw Tribal member students who graduated from high school, college, and trade school between fall of 2024 and here's summer 2025 who would like to be highlighted in the upcoming Quapaw Post to please send their information to communications@ogahpahcommunications.com, and they're requesting that you send a photo, name, school name, parent's name, and a sentence highlighting plans for after graduation. And that submission deadline is May the 16th. The annual health fair will be July 2nd from 8 a.m. to noon at the Quapaw Nation Fitness Center. The health fair will be open for elders only, so 65 and above, from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., and then open to everyone else from 9 a.m. to noon. The dates have been set this year for the 153rd Annual Quapaw Powwow. The scheduled dates are July the 3rd through 6th, with the 3rd being Quapaw Night. The 4th through 6th is contests and intertribal, and the 5th is the night of the fireworks. Again, July 5th will be the night of the fireworks, and please refer to the beautiful flyer for additional information. Here's a save the date. O-Gah-pah Conference is July 23rd and 24th at Downstream Casino and Resort. So again, those dates are July 23rd and 24th. The Cancer Awareness Committee is holding a Cancer Awareness Golf Scramble on Sunday, September the 14th at Eagle Creek Golf Club. The cost is $300 per team, and the deadline to enter is August the 14th. The committee is also accepting donations for the golf scramble and silent auction. For more information, please contact Jackie Stone at jackie.stone@quapawnation.com. All right, so on to the casinos. Quapaw Casino, now these are their February 2025 results. It was an excellent month for Quapaw Casino when compared to their approved budget. Their earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization totaled $369,000 with a margin of 21.5%. And it exceeded budget by $35,000. But unfortunately represents a decrease of $64,000 from the same time last year. You know, even with the volatile year so far, the Quapaw Casino is ahead of their yearly budget by $102,000. So, yeah, and keep in mind, you know, the construction is underway over there by the C-store, and it seems like they sure are making some good progress with some footings poured this week and the lower foundation targeted for next week. Downstream Casino and Resort. So last month when we met, Downstream had not released their February results, so I wanted to go through those as well as March. For February at Downstream, it was a really strong month for Downstream from an expense control standpoint. The EBITDA totaled $8.6 million with a margin of 53.5%, and the February results exceeded budget by $0.6 million. Net income from the month was $7.1 million with a margin of 44.3% and represents a positive budget variance of $0.7 million. March was a very strong month as well for Downstream for the month ending March 31st, 2025. EBITDA totaled $9.3 million with a margin of 49.8%, and the results missed budget by $0.2 million. So they're really pretty much on budget at this point. Net income for the month was $7.7 million with a margin of 4.1%. Debt reduction during March increased with the new required quarterly principal payment of $6.5 million plus an additional $1 million principal payment. So we're continuing to pay $7.5 million per month. The next quarterly payment is due at the end of June. Saracen, net gaming revenue in March finished comparable to their fourth highest month behind March of 2024 and 2023, as well as record month of November 2024. Unfortunately, the impressive performance was down to budget by 9.4%. The number one revenue source was slots, and revenue continued to experience increases when compared to prior year. Considerable progress has been made on the development of the hotel and event center. From a budget perspective, the development is about 53.8% complete, with the majority of the funding by cash flow coming from cash flow from operations. Utilization of the revolving line of credit to supplement cash flow has just started. Just as a reminder for everyone, that entire property, the gaming floor obviously, but in addition, the event center and hotel when they open, all patrons must be at least 21 years of age. Updates on when the facility will open to the public will be forthcoming. And the initial estimates are the fall of 2025, so not very far off into the future. That concludes the business committee report. Gunagay. Let's go on to the subcommittee reports. Can we get a microphone to Ms. Grace, the O-gah-pah Wisdom Keepers?
Gunagay, just to mention with the elders, the wisdom keepers, our next meeting will be Thursday. I guess that is April 3rd. And at that meeting, we will be discussing, again, the plans for our trip. At this point, it's a little bit destination unknown. But yes, we are working on that. And then also there will be a little follow-up to the communications, the training on how to use our computers and how to use our smartphones so we can keep up with activities with the Quapaw Nation, particularly with the website, being able to navigate through all of that. A lot of that now is in the sense of the more times that the elders can be together. We're very much looking at our early history of our people as it has passed down to where we are now. Our Quapaw ways are very, very important, and we need to keep those alive. And so we will be working on that. So again, our next meeting will be in April, on April the May 3rd. And we meet at 1 o'clock over in the museum classroom. The elders, certainly, everyone is welcome to come. So, gonna go.
Thank you, Grace. And that next meeting is May the 3rd over at the RWC classroom. Thank you. All right, Culture Committee, Barbara?
Good morning. First off, I want to, Risa Proctor asked me if I would give a report on the new group that met this last week called the O-Gah-pah Women. And it was something that was near and dear to her, and she has begun a group of women, Quapaws only, to meet. And I think the plan is to meet quarterly. There was about 40 ladies so far that have signed up. It's just going to be a group of women that meet and discuss issues pertaining to women in the tribe, and any Quapaw lady is invited to attend and to join. I think the annual fee is $10, and she has plans, the group has plans to do some things throughout the year, the coming year, as well as have a special dance at the powwow on Quapaw night, to have a giveaway that night, to have a drawing and so on and so forth for a basket of things at the powwow. And it's just going to be a social group gathering quarterly to kind of update what women in the tribe are doing, and how they're doing it, and so on and so forth. So she asked me to report that to everyone at the meeting today. Now the cultural committee discussed several things at their meeting yesterday. We do have two questions of the committee. One is to ask about the status of the crowns for the princesses. Do you have any response to that?
I'm trying to recall the last that I heard let me confirm, because there's something in progress, but I don't want to misspeak. My understanding was they were beaded crowns, but I'm not sure the state of progress right now.
Okay, well, not that it's necessary, I guess, but the cultural committee suggested that silver crowns were made for all three princesses for the year for them to keep, and then one beaded crown made for the tribal princess to wear and pass down each year. So that was the suggestion of the cultural committee. So they just wanted to know the status of what was going on. So if you can, please let us know later. Also about the flags. There was last month it came up about the flags and about the patent and whatever for the flag, and has there been a decision made on what's going to be decided about the flag, and what style and what photo and what it's going to look like continuing on, if the patent needs to be updated and so on and so forth?
Right. The work has started to get the patent updated because of the previous reference to Quapaw tribe. Is that right? Yeah, because it has tribe on it as opposed to nation. So that is being undertaken. The patent attorney has been engaged to do that. And not only the flag, but also if that tribe is, I can't remember if the tribe is also on the logo. We've got to get that one updated as well.
Okay. If you can, our next meeting for the Cultural Committee will be May the 16th at 1 p.m. at the museum classroom. So if you could get that information to me or to someone on the committee prior to then, I would appreciate it. The classes that were held by the IT department, Jose came and did a very good job. The second class that was held out here, however, did not have any attendees. But the first class that was held at the museum classroom was very successful. Those that attended were very thankful to learn how to operate the some of the portions of the website and get the information that they had available. The memorial dinner, as you mentioned, is May the 10th, and there's going to be another article about the memorial dinner and why it happens and so on and so forth in the Post. They're going to place that in there. The committee was wondering if during the dinner, during the memorial dinner, anyone that is going to honor their family or their family members or friends at the dinner, if they want their name to be read off during that ceremony, please contact one of the cultural committee or the business committee and leave that name. And they also mentioned that since you are, I guess, someone in the office, Brent or someone, gets the names of those that have been deceased throughout the year when they family wants the flag to be lowered and so on and so forth. If we could have that list of names to be read off at the memorial dinner, if it's kept, the ones that you have silence for during the year, is that a possibility?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, we'd appreciate that. The cabinet for the Quapaw dress and so on and so forth that's going to be placed at downstream is underway. The cabinet's being built and the glass has been put in. So that should be completed within the next 2 or 3 weeks for completed with the dress and things that were in the old cabinet. And it looks really nice. It blends in with the walls and everything very well. So there's that. We felt that the committee felt like the spring gathering was very successful. We estimated about 240 people were in attendance off and on during the day. The food was actually very good and ran out. Was completely gone by the time everyone got through eating. The games and the arts and crafts and the kids we had only good reports. No one complained about anything. I figured they'd be complaining immensely about not being able to camp out, but I guess it worked out so that they were able to attend down there. The train rides and the bouncy houses and all of that was a very big success, and the Easter egg hunt. All except the only thing we heard about that was that there was a kind of a glitch in the candy that was inside the Easter eggs. When it was ordered that it was a variety. They thought they were getting a variety when they were actually getting a variety of holiday candy. So that's why there was Halloween and Easter and so on and so forth. So that's why some of the eggs had it wasn't old candy, it was new candy, but it was just holiday candy. So anyway, if that's the only glitch, then I think it was very successful. So let me see. I think that's about all. May 10th, Memorial Dinner. Everyone remember to attend if you can. And thank you all for any assistance that you might have had during the all of the different departments that helped the Cultural Committee have a successful spring gathering. We appreciate that immensely. And again, May 16th at 1 p.m. will be our meeting, and anyone's welcome to attend. Thank you.
Thank you. That was a good update.
Is that May 16th, Barbara? May 16th?
Yeah, the Friday before the business committee meeting. In the museum classroom. And everybody that can, come in up and see the display. If you missed out on the open house, it's really nice. It has a lot of explanations about the shawls and blankets and so on and so forth.
It's a beautiful exhibit there at the museum. Turned out wonderfully. Constitution Committee, Roman?
Good morning.
Good morning.
So the Constitution Committee, since last month, has had 4 town hall meetings, and pleased to report that we considered those to be a success. There was some valuable feedback provided, also some additional encouragement that allowed us to take some action this week and put some additional items inside of the Constitution that we felt were relevant to our endeavor. But that being said, we missed our target to have this in the Business Committee's hands by today, and instead that's going to be pushed into Thursday, the 24th, that we anticipate being able to have that to the Business Committee. I sent it off to our legal counsel for our final review this morning. So very eager and excited about that. The next steps from here would be that we're not sure what the Business Committee may decide, if you are going to have another legal review, go through it or whatever. But from there, we are putting it in the hands so that it's in General Counsel's hands at least 30. We think that we anticipate it could be around the 45, 50-day mark that it could be in General Counsel's hands. But definitely the tribal households will have this in their hands before July 4th. Or at least 30 days before July 4th.
Yeah, the more lead time we can provide, the better. Mhm.
Yeah. And in the meantime, we'll be providing additional Q&A sessions. Plan to start talking with other committees and kind of laying out the groundwork for what those expectations could be if this potentially passes, and how it may affect others. That's it.
Roman, how did you reference those, the meetings that are going to take place between, presumably May and June?
Q&A, and we could also expect some media items or some social media items to be shared, just giving general references of things, flow charts for easier understanding, and it's a big document. It's a big document, and it's necessarily a big document, and it's going to take a lot to digest. So we want to make sure that we're available to assist anybody in that digestion. That it's like we're here to answer and break down whatever questions people may have. It won't be in the sense that edits are being made. Edits are done after we hand this off.
Thank you.
And Stanford would still be available regarding to.
So hesitant to speak about this because it's tentative. Stanford has offered to do a legal review of the Constitution and to make it a course in their law school. Now, Stanford is the #1 legal school currently, and also the #1 tribal law program. And we also have a tribal member going to school there, and the professor that's over this tribal program is very eager to assist in our endeavor. So we don't have an agreement in writing, and this is why I'm hesitant, because if it doesn't materialize, I don't want any negative connotations to be going either way. It's just the way that the cards fall. But We are going to be continuing to seek their assistance, and we hope to have some development before July 4th. If there is no development in this, we are going to proceed in accordance with whatever General Counsel wants. But we hope to have a detailed outline if there is an offer from Stanford and what that agreement would be and look like with us.
Is there anything that the business committee can do to help foster or bring that agreement, further across the finish line, if you will?
Ooh, wonderful question. Thank you for asking that. Yes, we will reach out to the business committee. We'll talk about it this week at our meeting, and we will reach out to the business committee after that.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good update. Any other subcommittees this morning? Oh, Frank? Wait a minute. How did I do that? Yeah, exactly. Nope, I didn't read down far enough. Thank you, Frank.
Good morning, everybody. April is also another big announcement. It will be the kickoff for the open filing for the seats that will be up for our annual election, which we have 3 member seats up and the vice chair seats up. Filing started on Thursday this week, and it will end, last day to file will be May the 19th, with our annual election day will be July 26th. We are continuing to try to find a suitable replacement for our, we call them clickers, but we're going to have another meeting this week, and we'll be reviewing another company that sent us some stuff, and we'll get back with you on that. Okay?
Frank, thank you. Really appreciate it. And thank you for your understanding. Any other subcommittees? All righty, let's go on to the executive director reports. So the executive director reports, those are targeted to the business committee. If others in attendance this morning have questions regarding those reports, please pose your questions during open forum. The executive director reports were posted to the tribal website earlier this week. Eric Boone, CFO, do you have anything to report beyond your posted report? Thank you, Eric. Jerry Helms, Executive Director, Quapaw Facilities Authority. I know that Trenton Stand, Executive Director of Resource Management, is out due to a family funeral, but Stacia is here. Is there anything else to report other than what Trenton's already posted? Thank you, Stacia. Steve Stand, Executive Director of Tribal Member Services. Anything else to report? Thank you, Steve. Charles Addington, Executive Director, Department of Public Safety. Thank you, Charles. Executive Director of Culture, Everett Bandy. Okay, thank you. Barry Lindiff, Executive Director, O-Guah-Pah Communications. Thank you, I appreciate it. But again, those reports are up on the tribal website. I know I was having trouble with the hyperlink earlier this week. I was just checking the formatting, but confirmed day before yesterday that they're working just fine. All right, let's go on to reading correction and approval of the phone polls. Member Buffalo, would you please take the very first phone poll?
Phone number 42480. Purchase request, Quapaw Cattle Company, Buffalo Feed Truck. This resolution is approving for the purchase of a buffalo feed, should be truck in there, for the Quapaw Cattle Company that was budgeted for and previously approved. However, that truck was sold before everything could get processed. This is being sent to PO to prevent this truck from being sold out from under us. The vote was 7-0 and certified on 3/19/2025 at 1:23 p.m.
Thank you, Member Mercer. Would you take the next one?
Yes, Madam Chair. This is poll number 42493, and it is a Paycom scheduling and personal action forms modules. Brief explanation, this was a request to add 2 Paycom modules for scheduling and personnel action. This allows personnel to receive the applications in, and it'll do a lot of the processing. Eliminates a ton of manual work that they were doing, so they should be able to work smarter and not harder. And this was approved on account of 7-0. It was certified 3/25/2025 at 7:10 a.m.
Thank you, Vice Chair McKibben. Would you take the next one?
Yes, ma'am. Poll number 42535, Building Resilient Infrastructure Communities Grant. This is authorizing the county to submit an application to FEMA for fiscal year 2024 Building Resilient and Communities Grant. This was sent to poll because the due date for submission was April 18th, 2025. This was approved and certified on 4/3/2025 at 8:29 a.m.
All right, I'll take the next one. It's poll number 42574. It's a purchase request by the Quapaw Services Authority for a Chevrolet 3500. They wanted to purchase a 2017 Chevrolet 3500 to use on the remediation projects to move employees and materials as needed. The job site conditions cause higher rates of wear and tear on those vehicles, making used vehicle purchases more economical. The poll was requested by Chair Supernon, was sent to a poll to keep the truck from being sold out from under us. It was approved unanimously and certified on April the 10th. Then the last phone poll is 42575. It's a purchase request, QSA, Ford F-150. They wanted to purchase the Ford F-150 for similar purpose remediation projects to move employees and materials as needed. The vehicles wear out pretty quickly, and the poll was requested by Chair Supernon, was sent to a poll to keep the truck from being sold out from under us. It was unanimously approved and certified on April the 10th. I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the polls as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor to approve all of the phone polls, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. Business Committee, is there any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the polls, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say no. The motion is approved and the phone polls are approved. Let's go on to new business. Secretary Treasurer Valier, would you please take the first one?
Certainly, Madam Chair. Resolution number 4041925A, a resolution to request continued grant funding for the period of April 1st, 2026 through March 31st, 2029 for the Title VI Caregiver Program, authorizing participation in nationwide elder needs assessment. Whereas the Quapaw Nation has operated the Title VI Caregiver Program via a grant from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration on Aging, whereas the primary project has been home-delivered meals for the homebound and congregate meals provided to the elderly American Indians residing in jurisdictional area, as well as social activities to create involvement of the elderly, whereas true benefits to the elderly are immeasurable in terms of qualitative fact, but rather the knowledge of being aware of attitudinal change in the recipient. Whereas the needs assessment is designed to yield information on the following Native elder healthcare needs: general health status, activities of daily living, visual, hearing, and dental, tobacco and alcohol use, nutrition, exercise, and excessive weight, social support, housing, and work. Whereas the summary information for your needs assessment, along with a national comparison report from all the needs assessment, will be returned to the governing council and to the local contact person. Whereas the confidentiality of enrolled members and tribal consortium information is of the utmost importance, therefore the information in the needs assessment will be collected anonymously by tribal members, with the information stored at the UND School of Medicine and Health Services within a locked file cabinet and destroyed after a period of 3 years. And therefore be it resolved that specific information collected within the boundaries of the Quapaw Nation belongs to the Quapaw Nation, and may not be released in any form to individual agencies or organizations without additional tribal authorization, and therefore be it further resolved that the Quapaw Nation fully endorses the objectives and benefits to the recipients of the tribe's Title VI Caregiver Program, and requests the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration on Aging give favorable consideration for grant funds allowing for the continued operation of this very worthwhile program for the elderly American Indians for the grant April 1st, 2026 through March 31st, 2029. And now therefore be it further resolved that the Quapaw Nation hereby authorizes participation in the Identifying Our Needs, a Survey of Elders, Native Elder Social and Health Needs Assessment, the Quapaw Nation Business Committee permission to the North Dakota, Alaska, and Hawaii National Reserve Center on Native Aging to use all collected needs assessment information in aggregate format for the purpose of disseminating state, regional, and national results from analysis of the data. Madam Chair, I move to adopt resolution number 041925-A.
Second. We have a motion on the floor to approve Resolution 041925-A. Business Committee, is there any further discussion? Let's go to the vote. All those in favor of approving Resolution 041925-A, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. Resolution 041925-A is approved. Member Davis, would you please take B?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Resolution number 041925-B. A resolution to authorize the submission of an application for continued funding from the Administration of Children and Families for the Family Violence Prevention and Services, Domestic Violence Shelter, and Supportive Services grants to Native American tribes. Whereas the Quapaw Nation Business Committee finds it imperative to extend its services to Native American women who have been victims of domestic violence and to educate professionals in the area of domestic violence and the community about the services available to potential victims, and therefore be it resolved that the Quapaw Nation Business Committee does hereby authorize the submission of an application for continued funding from the Administration for Children and Families for the Family Violence Prevention and Services, Domestic Violence Shelter, and Supportive Services grants to Native American tribes. Madam Chair, I would so move to adopt resolution number 041925-B.
Second.
We have a motion to approve Resolution 041925-B. Business Committee, is there any further discussion?
Madam Chair, I would just like to note that that does still encompass men as well. It's not just restricted to women.
Thank you. All those in favor of approving Resolution 041925-B, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? The motion carries. Resolution 041925-B is approved. Member Giveswater, would you please take C?
Yes, ma'am. Resolution number 041925-C. A resolution to authorize Chair Weena Supernaut to execute the services agreement for government relations support. Whereas the Quapaw Nation wishes to execute a services agreement for government relations support with a government affairs lobbying firm, and whereas the Quapaw Nation will be provided with the services defined in the agreement and Exhibit A by the contractor, and the contractor agrees to provide the services to the Quapaw Nation pursuant to the terms and the conditions of the agreement. Therefore, be it resolved, the Quapaw Nation Business Committee hereby authorizes Weena Supernaut Chair to sign the services agreement for the government relations support. Madam Chair, I so move to approve resolution number 041925-C.
Second. We've got a motion on the floor to approve Resolution 041925-C. Business Committee, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, All those in favor of approving Resolution 041925-C, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. Resolution 041925-C is approved. Member Gibbs Water, would you please take D?
Resolution number 041925-D, a resolution to approve among the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Vicksburg District, Tribal Nations, and SHPO State Historic Preservation Officer regarding the Uga'xpa Dam, Coldwater River, Mississippi Embankment Outlet Works Spillway Dam Safety Modification Study, hereafter referred to as the Uga'xpa Dam Project. Whereas USACHI, I like that word. USACHI has determined that the effects on the cultural resources cannot be fully determined prior to the approval of the Uga'xpa Dam project as described above. Therefore, USACHI has elected to fulfill its Section 106 obligations through the execution and implementation of the programmatic agreement. All terms and conditions resulting from the amended programmatic agreement will guide efforts to properly identify, document, and assess cultural resources and avoid, minimize, and/or mitigate, offset any potential impacts prior to project construction. Whereas the Quapaw Nation Business Committee desires to approve such agreement effective immediately upon its execution by the last party to sign in the interest of protecting the nation's valuable and irreplaceable cultural and historical information and resources. Therefore, be it resolved that this programmatic agreement for the Uga'xpa Dam project is hereby approved, and further that the chair is hereby authorized to execute and deliver such agreement on behalf of the nation. Madam Chair, I so move to approve resolution number 041925-D.
Second.
Got a motion on the floor to approve Resolution 041925-D. Business Committee, is there any further discussion on this programmatic agreement? Hearing none, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor of approving 041925-D, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, say no. The motion carries. Resolution 041925-D is approved. Member Mercer, would you take actually E as well as F?
Yes, Madam Chair. Resolution number 041925E, a resolution authorizing the declination of the fiscal year 2022 Indian Community Development Block Grant, ICDBG, award to the Federal Department Housing and Urban Development, known as HUD. Whereas the Quapaw Nation Business Committee asks HUD to accept the nation's return of our fiscal year 2022 ICDBG funding for the proposed Family Services Building. Whereas the project has experienced multiple barriers to success since the project was funded in 2023, including the need to rebuild another high-priority facility at the proposed site for this project and continuously rising construction costs. We completed an extension, redesign, and cost estimate for the building at a new site and determined the project is infeasible to achieve the goals that were committed to in the application. Whereas the Quapaw Nation Business Committee has made the difficult decision to decline this grant and continue to evaluate more efficient and effective options. Therefore, be it resolved that the Quapaw Nation Business Committee does hereby authorize the declination of 100% of the grant by HUD for the fiscal year 2022 ICDBG funded project. Madam Chair, I recommend adoption of resolution number 041925E.
Second.
Got a motion on the floor to approve Resolution 041925-E. Business Committee, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll go on to the vote. All those in favor of approving Resolution 041925-E, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. Motion carries, and Resolution 041925-E is approved.
Resolution number 041925F. This is a resolution authorizing the Quapaw Nation Chair to sign and facilitate the extension of the contract with a human resource consulting company. Whereas the Quapaw Nation Business Committee wishes to approve the extension of the contract. Whereas the said contract extension shall be for a period of 3 months starting April 1, 2025, shall expire July 1, 2025. Therefore, be it resolved, the Quapaw Nation Business Committee hereby approves Chair Weena Supernaw to sign and facilitate the extension of the human resource contract. Madam Chair, I recommend adoption of resolution number 041925F.
Second. Got a motion on the floor to approve Resolution 041925-F. Business Committee, is there any further discussion? All those in favor of approving Resolution 041925-F, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. The motion carries. Resolution 041925-F is approved. Member Buffalo, would you please take the next two?
Yes, ma'am. Resolution number 041925-G, a resolution to approve the Quapaw Nation Information Technology IT Department plans for 2026. Whereas the Quapaw Nation IT Department has developed a 2026 technology plan which outlines a three-phase approach to modernizing tribal services through the implementation of a centralized tribal member portal, digitation of records via Laserfish, and consolidation and modernization of critical platforms and infrastructure. Whereas the Quapaw Nation Business Committee supports implementation of this plan to improve government operations, enhance service delivery to tribal members, and reduce long-term costs. And now therefore be it resolved that the Quapaw Nation Business Committee hereby approves and adopts the Quapaw Nation IT Department Technology Plan for 2026 and recommends that all departments cooperate fully in the execution of this plan and support any necessary training, evaluation, and systems transitions required for its success. Madam Chair, I move to adopt.
Second.
We've got a motion on the floor to approve Resolution 041925-G. Business Committee, is there any further discussion? Hearing nothing further, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor of approving Resolution 041925-G, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. The motion carries, and Resolution 041925-G is approved.
Resolution number 041925-H, a resolution to authorize the purchase of a new vehicle tag software with online renewal capabilities. Whereas the current vehicle tag software used by Quapaw Nation has become outdated and is no longer capable of meeting the operational need or service expectations of tribal members. Whereas the Quapaw Nation Information Technology Department, in collaboration with the Tag Office, has identified a modern software solution that supports online vehicle tag renewal functionality, improved service access, and systems reliability. Whereas the online vehicle tag renewal capability is a key component of the Quapaw Nation's broader digital services initiative and aligns with the goals of the 2026 technology plan. Now therefore be it resolved that the Quapaw Nation Business Committee hereby authorizes the purchase and implementation of a new vehicle tag software system that includes online renewal features. And therefore be it resolved that the Quapaw Nation IT Department is directed to oversee the implementation and integration of the new software in collaboration with the Tag Office and other relevant departments. Now therefore be it resolved that the Quapaw Nation Business Committee hereby authorizes the purchase and implementation of a new vehicle tag software system that includes online renewal features. Madam Chair, I move to adopt.
Got a motion on the floor to approve Resolution 041925-H. Business Committee, is there any further discussion? All those in favor of approving Resolution 041925-H, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. The motion carries. Resolution 041925-H is approved. Vice Chair McKibben, would you take the next two?
Yes, ma'am. Resolution number 041925-I, a resolution approving the alternate standards for Class II mobile gaming systems and player interfaces. Whereas the nation adopted the 2023 Quapaw Nation Gaming Ordinance on December 4, 2023, whereas Section 9 of the ordinance establishes the Quapaw Nation Gaming Commission with commissioners appointed by the Business Committee, and whereas the Quapaw Nation Gaming Commission has reviewed and developed alternate standards related to Class II mobile gaming systems and player interfaces under the provisions of Code of Federal Regulations, specifically 25 CFR 547, which govern the approval, operation, integrity of gaming equipment and software, and whereas the alternate standards include the following key components. Number one, Class II gaming system definition, expanding the definition to include mobile gaming systems and player interfaces such as Class II mobile devices, ensuring they function in compliance with established gaming regulations. Number two, approved gaming equipment and software, ensuring that any gaming equipment used, including Class II mobile devices, complies with FCC requirements and operates game software approved by the Tribal Gaming Authority, TGRA. Number three, player interface requirements, requiring player interfaces, whether fixed or mobile, to meet specified standard, including serial numbers, player interaction features, and restrictions on multiple logins. Number four, testing and certification, recognizing that testing laboratories are unable to test player-owned mobile devices such as cell phones or tablets, but relying on FCC accreditation and TGRA-approved game software to maintain security and integrity. Number five, disclaimers and odds notification, ensuring that all player interfaces, including mobile devices, display required disclaimers and odds notifications before a gaming session begins, with the player acknowledging the information. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Quapaw Nation Business Committee hereby approves the alternate standards for Class II mobile gaming systems and player interfaces, including the modifications and additions as outlined above. Be it further resolved that the Quapaw Nation Business Committee directs that these alternate standards be implemented immediately and submitted for final approval to the National Indian Gaming Commission for their review and consideration. Be it further resolved that the Quapaw Nation Business Committee authorizes Chair Weena Supernaw to submit the alternate standards to the NIGC effective upon adoption, and ensures that all required documentation is provided to support this submission. Be it finally resolved that the Quapaw Nation Business Committee confirms that the integrity, security, and regulatory compliance of the Class II mobile gaming systems and player interfaces in accordance with applicable laws and regulations. Move to adopt resolution number 041925-I.
Second. Got a motion on the floor to approve Resolution 041925-I. Business Committee, is there any further discussion? Hearing nothing further, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor of approving Resolution 041925-I, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? You got that, Brent? Thank you. Ayes have it. Resolution 041925-I is approved.
Resolution number 041925-J, a resolution authorizing the purchase of fee property and authorize the chairperson or an authorized representative to execute the purchase on behalf of the Quapaw Nation. Whereas the Quapaw Nation Business Committee supports the purchase of property and agreed to the price outright purchase of the property, now therefore be it resolved by the Quapaw Nation Business Committee that the tribal chairperson or an authorized representative of the Quapaw Nation is hereby authorized to negotiate and execute the purchase of land and to promote tribal self-determination and other such uses as may be determined. I move to adopt resolution number 041925-J.
Second.
We've got a motion on the floor to approve Resolution 041925-J. Business Committee, is there any further discussion? All those that are in favor of approving Resolution 041925-J, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. The motion carries. Resolution 041925-J is approved. I'll go ahead and take the next two. It's Resolution 041925-K. It's a resolution to authorize a waterline right-of-way request from Rural Water District Number 7 and to authorize the execution of the right-of-way on behalf of the Quapaw Nation. Whereas the Quapaw Nation Business Committee supports and requests the right-of-way to Rural Water District Number 7 located within the attached properties, the nation further agrees that the ROW term is perpetual, providing the ROW or another appropriate document acknowledges that Rural Water District Number 7 does not have the authority to grant easements within the below-described ROW without the approval of the landowners. Therefore, be it resolved, the Quapaw Nation Business Committee, that the tribal chairperson or secretary-treasurer or an authorized representative of the Quapaw Nation is hereby authorized to execute said ROW and to promote tribal self-determination and such other uses as may be determined, including commercial operations acceptable to the grantee. Therefore, be it further resolved, by reasons stated above, the Quapaw Nation requests that the superintendent of the Miami agency grant the proposed ROW easement with Rural Water District Number 7 on the property. I move to adopt Resolution 041925-K. Got a motion on the floor to approve Resolution 041925-K. Business Committee, is there any further discussion? Hearing nothing further, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor of approving 041925-K, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The motion carries, and Resolution 041925-K is approved. Resolution number 041925-L. It's a resolution to authorize a right-of-way request from Empire District Electric Company doing business as Liberty and to authorize the execution of the right-of-way on behalf of the Quapaw Nation. Whereas the Quapaw Nation Business Committee supports and requests the ROW to Empire District Electric Company doing business as Liberty located within the attached properties. The nation further agrees that the ROW term is perpetual, providing the ROW or another appropriate document acknowledges that Empire District does not have the authority to grant easements within the below-described ROW without the approval of the landowners. Therefore, be it resolved by the Quapaw Nation Business Committee that the tribal chairperson or secretary-treasurer or an authorized representative of the Quapaw Nation is hereby authorized to execute said ROW and to promote tribal self-determination and such other uses as may be authorized to execute said ROW and to promote tribal self-determination and such other uses as may be determined. My apologies, I reread one row. Including commercial operations acceptable to the grantee. Therefore, be it further resolved by reasons stated above, the Quapaw Nation requests that the superintendent of the Miami agency grant the proposed ROW easement with Empire District Electric Company doing business as Liberty on the property described above. I move to approve Resolution 041925-L.
Second.
Got a motion on the floor to approve Resolution 041925-L. Business Committee, is there any further discussion? Hearing nothing further, let's go to the vote. All those in favor of approving Resolution 041925-L, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The motion carries, and Resolution 041925-L is approved. Secretary-Treasurer Valier, will you take M and N?
Certainly, Madam Chair. Resolution number 041925M, a resolution to authorize the leasing of tribal land to the United States government pursuant to Section 105L of Public Law 93638. Whereas the federal law requires the Secretary of the U.S. Department of Interior to enter into a lease agreement with the tribe proposing a lease pursuant to Section 105L of Public Law 93-638, as amended with such lease compensation as calculated in accordance with 25 CFR Part 900, Subpart H. And whereas the U.S. Department of Interior requires tribes and tribal organizations to certify that all information provided by the tribe and tribal organizations for purposes of the calculating lease compensation under Section 105L of Public Law 93-638 is true and correct, and therefore be it resolved, Stacia Forbes, Director of Realty Trust Services, is authorized to submit a lease proposal to the U.S. Department of Interior for the following facilities pursuant to Public Law 93-638. Therefore, be it further resolved, Catherine Weena Supernall, Chair of the Quapaw Nation Business Committee, is authorized to negotiate and execute said lease agreement and to take all measures necessary to implement said lease agreement for calendar year 2025 and subsequent lease periods for which funds are available, and therefore be it finally resolved, Trenton Stand, Executive Director of Resource Management, is hereby designated as the appropriate official to verify the information provided by the tribe or tribal organization for purposes of calculating lease compensation under Section 105L of Public Law 93-638, and is hereby authorized to attest to the accuracy of such. Madam Chair, I move to adopt Resolution number 041925M.
Got a motion on the floor to approve Resolution 041925-M. Business Committee, is there any further discussion? Let's go on to the vote. All those in favor of approving Resolution 041925-M, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The motion carries. Resolution 041925-M is approved.
Resolution number 041925N, a resolution to approve the purchase of a mobile command center. Whereas the Marshals Service is requesting the purchase of a mobile command center for incident response. The mobile command center will allow on-site coordination of resources and comes equipped with a radio suite, Starlink dish, and network rack for wired and wireless data and communications. This will enhance our ability to deploy to areas with limited infrastructure following events such as natural disasters or mass casualty events. The command center is listed in the grant application for the recently awarded Tribal Homeland Security Grant. Having solicited qualified vendors and conducted due diligence in accordance with the current policy and ensuring sufficient unencumbered funds exist, and therefore be it resolved that the purchase of the command center is approved by the Quapaw Nation Business Committee. Madam Chair, I move that we adopt resolution number 041925N.
Second. Got a motion on the floor to approve Resolution 041925-N. Business Committee, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor of approving Resolution 041925-N, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion carries. Resolution 041925-N is approved. Member Davis, would you take the next two?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Resolution number 041925-O, a resolution to authorize the Cherokee Nation to contract with the United States Indian Health Service utilizing the Quapaw Nation shares. Whereas the Quapaw Nation Business Committee wishes to authorize the Cherokee Nation to utilize the Quapaw Nation shares, and therefore be it resolved, the Quapaw Nation Business Committee hereby authorizes the Cherokee Nation to contract with the United States Indian Health Service to provide health care services as set out in the attachment to this resolution using the tribal shares of the Quapaw Nation determined by the United States Indian Health Service pursuant to Indian Self-Determination and Education Assistance Act as amended. Therefore, be it resolved, the Cherokee Nation is authorized to negotiate and execute a funding agreement as provided in the compact between the Cherokee Nation and the United States pursuant to the Indian Self-Determination and Education Assistance Act as amended for a term of 3 years beginning October 1, 2025 through September 30, 2028, and to administer the federal programs, functions, and services and activities identified in the funding agreement. Therefore, be it further resolved, the Quapaw Nation Business Committee approves the Cherokee Nation to renegotiate and execute a funding agreement using the tribal shares of the Quapaw Nation unless and until this resolution is rescinded by the Quapaw Nation. Madam Chair, I would so move to adopt resolution number 041925-0.
A motion on the floor to approve Resolution 041925-0. Business Committee, is there any further discussion? Hearing nothing further, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor of approving 041925-0, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. Motion carries. Resolution 041925-0 is approved.
Madam Chair, continuing on, resolution number 041925-P, a resolution to approve the domestic violence and shelter policies, procedures, and forms for the Family Services Department. Whereas the Quapaw Nation's Business Committee supports and adopts the following items for the domestic violence program under the Family Services Department. And noting these all start with DV, so I'll just say DV once and then follow through with the next regarding these items. DV case management plan, confidentiality agreement, legal agreement, policies, safety plan, weekly client contact agreement, hotel 30-day agreement, new intake form, power and control wheel, guidelines and allowables, request for confidential documents form, shelter client release of information, shelter code of conduct, shelter grievance form, shelter grievance policy, shelter prohibition of weapons, shelter substance use, shelter termination policy, shelter visitors policy, shelters policies and procedures, shelter staff and client confidentiality. Therefore be it resolved by the Business Committee of the Quapaw Nation that the nation's chairperson or an authorized representative of the Quapaw Nation is hereby authorized to execute this consent given for the approval of the items listed above for the domestic violence program, and shall constitute policy until such time the Quapaw Nation Business Committee deems it necessary and prudent to modify or change the items listed above. Madam Chair, I would so move to adopt resolution number 041925-P.
Second.
Got a motion on the floor to approve Resolution 041925-P. Business Committee, is there any further discussion? Hearing nothing further, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor of approving Resolution 041925-P, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no.
Abstain.
Got that noted, Brent? Resolution 041925-P is approved. Member Gibbs Water, would you please take item Q?
Yes. Resolution number 041925-Q, a resolution to approve the revisions to the policies and procedures and the lease. Whereas the Quapaw Nation Business Committee supports and adopts the following items to be revised for the Ray Housing Addition and free fee properties under management by the Housing Services Manager, policies and procedures and lease. Therefore, be it resolved by the Business Committee of the Quapaw Nation that the nation's chairperson or an authorized representative of the Quapaw Nation is hereby authorized to execute this consent given for the approval of the revisions of the policies and procedures and lease. Therefore, be it further resolved that the Quapaw Nation requests that the Secretary of the Interior or an authorized representative approve said approval of revisions of the policy and procedures and lease. Madam Chair, I so move to adopt resolution number 041925-Q.
Got a motion on the floor to approve Resolution 041925-Q. Business Committee, is there any further discussion? All those in favor of approving Resolution 041925-Q, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. Got one abstain. Resolution 041925-Q is approved. That concludes new business. We will now go on to open forum. The open forum rules remain in place. In order to speak, an individual must have submitted the form or must pertain to today's topics on the agenda. There's a 5-minute time limit, 1 trip to the podium. Please be respectful. Please use the microphone. We have 1 form that was submitted this month. That was Tribal Gaming Regulatory Authority. Virginia, good morning.
Good morning. We just want to say thank you for the alternate standards. Once we get that from Grant, we will send that on and then wait for approval. Operations is really excited to see where that takes us. We still have concerns because that's what we do. The other thing is Buddy Shap's gaming license was approved. We're excited to have Mr. Shap on our commission and look forward to the expertise that he brings from law enforcement to help us protect our nation's gaming. And then one final thing, because it's a pet peeve. Is that a logo or is that the seal of the Quapaw Nation? Can we start referring to it as the seal of the Quapaw Nation instead of a logo? We're not a sports team, we're a nation. That's just a pet peeve. Heard that today and thought, I'm gonna bring that over to you. That's all I've got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak on a topic from today's agenda? Could we get a microphone over? I don't know whose hand was up first. My apologies. Barbara.
Okay, couple of questions first. New business 041925-D, the Archibutla programmatic. What river or waterway is that concerning?
It's the Uga'xpa Dam, right, Joey?
Yeah.
Yes.
The Uga'xpa Dam River Project.
And what waterway runs into that? Where does it come from?
I do not know off the top of my head. Perhaps someone else does.
I don't have it off the top of my head.
Where is it? Where is the Archibutla Dam?
Digging through our homework.
Mississippi.
Mississippi.
So it's still within our area of interest. Anytime they undertake, large construction projects of that nature, even if something exists, if it's expanded or being renovated, they have to go through the Section 106 review,
Yeah, I
of
know.
course, if it goes through if it relies upon public
That's why
dollars.
I'm asking if it,
DeSoto County, Mississippi.
it's in Mississippi?
Yes.
Okay,
Coldwater River.
okay. I just wondered if it affected anything, any waterway here in this area.
Not in Oklahoma.
Thank you.
Tallahatchie River is the river.
Okay, thank you. No, I'm not interested then. Then rural water line right of way and electrical right of way, did that concern any individual trust land or was it tribal?
Tribal. Is that correct, Stacia?
Tribal, okay. All right, thank you. The only thing that I wanted to report was concerning Downstream Casino Resort. I was made aware last week that there is a scam out there on the telephone. In case anyone gets a call of someone trying to sell shares to Downstream Casino Resort. That is a real scam. They have been dialing, and I don't know how they got the names of the individuals on the list of Downstream, but they've been calling those individuals that are on the, have hosts or whomever on the that are on the list of individuals that game at Downstream and have their name on the whatever it's called. So they're calling and wanting to sell shares over the phone. So please be aware and be careful of that because it is a scam. Downstream doesn't have shares, as we know. So just-
Is this something that we should put out through communications so that all tribal members and everybody in the community will know that that's a scam and to not respond to it?
I don't know. I reported it immediately as when I found out. I was actually overheard the conversation, and I said, "What are you talking about?" And they said they're trying to sell me shares of Downstream.
Did you get with
So
Barry Linda?
I immediately called Stewart, who he said he was going to contact security there, but I mean, that's just there, so.
But I think you've got a good idea, Secretary Treasurer Valier, so that we can get a public service announcement out. There was a similar scam that was reported yesterday that had nothing to do with downstream, but an unauthorized party contacted a tribal member requesting their Medicare information. And so we put something out last night so that if others are contacted, we don't do that. We would never do that.
Well,
Hang
I
up.
don't know how they would have gotten the names of these individuals.
Right.
That's kind of troubling. How they would have gotten the names of someone that was on the list that games there, and their phone number. So they hacked it. Well, okay, whatever.
Thank you for reporting that, Barbara.
You're welcome. That's all I have.
And I think Bonnie Schalk had her hand raised.
I just wanted to emphasize, just because there are no tolls up when you go through the turnpike to pay, they are taking a picture of your tag, and they will come after you. Just like we have tribal tags, they will take a picture of our tribal tag, and they will come after the tribe for that money. So if you have a Pike Pass or a Pike Play, you can add your children to it. You can have 4 or 5 children added. Yeah, you can. I added mine. Did the other day. Oh, I thought you were shaking your head at me. You can. I thought, okay. But yes, you can add your children to it, so you can keep your children off it. But it's not free. They're tagging. They're getting your tag every time you go through that. So just so people know that, the turnpike is free. No, it's not. It is not. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Bonnie, thank you. Anybody else that wants to speak to a topic that pertains to today's agenda? Melinda?
Yes. Could you explain a little more on the leasing land of the U.S. government? Explain it.
105L?
Huh?
105L?
It's building leases.
I just don't know what, I mean.
Yes, it's 105L lease.
The 105L lease is basically what it does is we go to the government, they pay us for us using a building like this, the community center. So they're paying us a monthly lease payment for us to be able to use this building. So all of our, like their administrative building or fire, EMS stations, all of those different facilities that we have around on the reservation, the 105L lease, so the U.S. government says, okay, we're going to pay you for your use of that. You can use that, but we provide them with all of what it costs us to be able to run these facilities. So basically, they're just kind of paying us back for our use of this. Say again.
We've got Grace Good Eagle.
The next meeting of the Elders Wisdom Keepers will be May 1.
May the 1st.
Sorry about the confusion. It'll be posted. Phone calls will be made. Thank you, Rick, for pointing that out. May 1.
Thank you for that update, Grace. We want people to be able to participate.
What time?
At 1 o'clock, Grace? 1 p.m. on May the 1st.
I just want to say, on the Constitution, I know we've been on this for a while, but the opportunity to have Stanford to look at this document and give us feedback for free and utilize that level of expertise, we don't know what an amazing opportunity that is to have for free that lies in front of our nation. To utilize that level of professor expertise and then their students. I just want to encourage everybody to read this Constitution and take a look at it, and then also give your input. Roman has provided numerous opportunities for you to come and meet or to come and drop into a meeting, but for us to have this opportunity to have Stanford give us input, of course, it's not going to be perfect when we get it back from them, but that'll give us ample time for this fall semester for Stanford to run that through their class and their professors. And then it comes back to us again after the fall semester, assuming, right? So that'll still give us ample time before next general council to have that level of expertise to provide input and feedback, what they do and don't like. Of course, we're not going to like everything they suggest, but just to have that opportunity in front of us in itself is an amazing opportunity. So I just want our tribal citizens to kind of put that in the back of their mind and chew on it and mull it over, because we're operating on this Thomas Rogers document that's been around for, God, how many years? I don't even have any idea exactly how many years, but at that tribal summit we attended, 75, Lloyd says, and he would know as good as anybody. He's been around a little bit longer than that, so. But just to have this opportunity, and at that tribal summit last month, one of the leaders from another very successful nation referenced that in his when he was on one of the panels speaking. Some of you nations that are still operating by that Thomas Rogers document, he just kind of threw up his hands and shook his head, and it's unbelievable that we are still operating by that. But again, just want to emphasize the opportunity Stanford is for Quapaw Nation to look at this. So thank you all.
Member Mercer, would you please close us out in prayer?
Heavenly Father, we come before you today. We thank you for the gathering of the people of Quapaw Nation to hear business committee reports. Thank you for the input from all of our people that are here. Those that are online, we ask that you bless us all. Bless us as a nation. We continuously ask for blessings. We ask you to remember those that have had loss, also the couple that was killed in the accident on the motorcycle this past week, which involved a 16-year-old who will have to live with this trauma the rest of her life. So we ask your blessings upon her. Go with us, help us to recognize this Easter season and what it really represents. Give us grace, give us traveling mercies, and bless especially our people that are ill, need healing to their bodies, to their mind, and to their soul. In the name of your Son, we ask all this.
Chair, I move to adjourn.
All those in favor of adjourning, please say
Aye.
aye. We are adjourned at 11:03, Brian.